the new setup? Alright, if we put this further away, like move the table further out. Hey guys, this is LarryBoy Fanatic, and today we're going to be doing our next Q&A video. The second one, part 2. Just the second one. But first, new digs. Changed up the setup a little bit. We got a desk back here and my posters on the wall. We got Jesus. This is where I'm going to be doing my voiceovers. Well, it's the same room. I just had to clean it up a little. Clean up my studio. We're going to be answering your questions today. Well, I am, of course. I'm a little upset right now because someone drank all my protein shakes. But joke's on them. I have their hot Cheetos, so we're good. Now, I'm not going to go into specific order. In fact, I took screenshots on my phone, so I'm basically going to read from what I saved on the screenshot. I was going to say screenshotted, but that's not even a word. So, apologies in advance. So we might as well start off with the first one. Don't worry, I'm going to have all the people that listed their questions at the end of this video. I'll post them at the end of this video. Alright, so here we go. Cave Cat said, well, they have two questions. Cave Cat said, what do you expect to see when LarryBoy appears in the Veggietales show? Well, to answer your first question, I'm really hoping for the best because Phil Vischer said that you can't have a LarryBoy episode unless you take it outside the theater. That's what he said in his Facebook interview, so if he says it, I believe him. And I really hope that they bring back some really good villains like the Bad Apple. Or you give us a new villain, just don't go for Dr. Flurry. Please don't do anything that's Dr. Flurry. At first glance, when I see the screenshots of some of the previous episodes on the Veggietales show, I'm guessing Dr. Flurry's a good guy now? So, obviously him going back to villainy is a bad idea. So I'm really hoping and praying that somebody like the Bad Apple will return, or they give us a villain that's just as good as her. So your second question was, you said before that you'll possibly read the rest of the LarryBoy chapter books. Which one are you planning to read next when you do get around to it? I am going back to the chapter books eventually. Right now there's a lot of, oh, this is happening and that's happening. I have a lot of ideas. It's like when I get another idea, it's like, oh shoot, I gotta make a video out of that. But then it's like, sometimes things change, but I promise you the chapter books are gonna get read and completed, reviewed. Because last time I was on book 4, which is the Old Napper, the book adaptation of the Old Napper episode. Hopefully I get to those chapter books as soon as possible. But at the same time, there's more developments coming when it comes to the Veggietales show, and I'm just hoping and praying for another LarryBoy anything. Like his return. I mean, come on. It's like, what's the holdup? Alright, our next question comes from Valerian Casagrande. Ooh, it's a pretty good name. Can you name the 5 incompetent things LarryBoy has done over the four movies, he says. So 5. Well, why don't we start from beginning to end? I'll go from Fit from Outer Space to League of Incredible Vegetables. Even though there are so many incompetent things that went on in that movie. So, Fit from Outer Space, number 1 is when LarryBoy... Okay, just so you know, beforehand, spoilers for all 4 of these movies. So number 1, in the Fit from Outer Space episode, he has drove past the Fit from Outer Space twice without giving a glance as to who this guy is, and it's like, dude, you missed him twice. So that's number 1. Number 2 is jumping out of the Larry plane without listening to more of Alfred's instructions. Because LarryBoy was like, oh, there's one thing left to do, what I should have done all along. And then he jumps out and is like, Alfred's like, what? What are you doing? It's like, his calculations weren't finished, and by the time LarryBoy gets captured by the fib, it's like, why didn't you tell me before I jumped on his head? It's like he should have waited for those instructions. Okay, so moving on to the rumor weed. What has he done that's incompetent? Knocking over the plant and accidentally creating the rumor weed. Well, first of all, that was not his fault. Knocking a flower pot is accidental. And he wouldn't have had any idea that it was going to turn into the rumor weed. So that doesn't count. That doesn't count as incompetent. Okay, incompetency. Trying to think of a third one. I guess move on to the bad apple episode. Number 3 is Larry, even though he's in his gym suit, gym clothes, and then the bad apple knocks at his door, and she's able to get in just by showing off her chocolate bar. I'll demonstrate it to you. Let me get my chocolate bar. Oh, well, let me pull out my card, my business card, just in case. Oh, it's right here under the chocolate. Larry just fell for it and basically led her into the Larry cave. I was like, why would you do that? Is that to say that that's your security clearance? Oh, the funniest part is when he says, oh, you need security clearance. Guess what the security question is? Promise not to tell anybody about my secret cave. So that's how you do security. Ask a vague question. Moving on to League. First scene. LarryBoy tries to perfect his Batman voice before going in to taking down a robbery. Well, he doesn't stop the robbery of 3 penguins. The dude's standing there in the dark like, the jig is up. It's like, dude, come on, there's a robbery going on. Common sense. And then the 5th one, I assure you, is during that same scene. He's all talking, little action. I was gonna say all talk and no action, but there was some action, but very little was done. And that's why the other superheroes like come in and save the day. It's obvious that League of Incredible Vegetables did not see Rumor Weed. They did not see the Bad Apple episode. It's like, ultimately I blame the writing, but Mike Naraki co-wrote some of it, and then there was this other guy, Mark Steele. The blame should go on Mark Steele, because I guarantee you, and this was said in a previous video that I've done a while back, or Veronica's done a while back. Mike Naraki would not have agreed to any of the flops and mishaps from that movie. Alright, so those were your 5. I hope that answered your question. It's a pretty good question, by the way, and you have a pretty good name, by the way. So the next question comes from Melody M. And she says, what is your second favorite Veggietales episode? My second favorite? Well, my first favorite is the very first video of Veggietales, Worst Guide When I'm Scared. Because that's a little treat for the video historians, animation historians. Because before Pixar and SaberSpark talked about this in his recent video, check it out by the way, it's fantastic. Before Pixar was a thing or whatever, with the 3D animation, Veggietales was one of the first to get it going. Even though the animation may not hold up to this day, it's still pretty good. You could tell that a lot of effort was put into the first one. Like the animation and the comedy, it all seems so fresh. So I'm guessing my second favorite Veggietales episode, I would say Rack, Shack, and Benny. I might have talked about this in a previous video, but the more I think about it, Rack, Shack, and Benny. Because I like the story, even though some of it is controversial, and there is a lot of conspiracy theories with that one. And they had to change up the song a few times because the original one wasn't that good, and it was like not a good influence on kids. What was that lyric? I don't love my mom and I don't love my dad. It's like, dude, come on. Even though Mr. Nazar was playing the villain role, the antagonist role, I might be able to do a video on Rack, Shack, and Benny just to analyze it. We'll make it a LarryBoy Fanatic review. You never know. So next up, Looney Tunes Girl gave us 2 questions. What is your favorite movie? It's kind of hard to tell because I really like LarryBoy and the Bad Apple. So something not LarryBoy related. I honestly don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because I've sat through a lot of movies that were cringeworthy and was like, why am I watching this? And I've sat through a lot of boring movies and I was like, why am I watching this? I used to go to the movies all the time, but it's like, no matter what movie I see, it just grinded my gears. And movie ticket prices are like outrageous. So favorite movie, that's kind of a hard question. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be LarryBoy and the Bad Apple. So I hope you understand. So the second question you had was, besides Veggietales, what other cartoons did you watch growing up? Well, first there was Looney Tunes, then there was Tom and Jerry. Well, I saw a lot of cartoons back in my youth. It's gonna take like an hour or so just to give you a big old list of cartoons that I've watched. I know there's Dexter's Laboratory, Pepper Ann, Recess, Darkwing Duck, and those were just like some shows that came on top of my head. So I grew up watching cartoons. A lot of them. And yeah, it's a big list. So next up is John the TV Show Fan 1001. What are your favorite shows? Cartoons and live action. Well, my favorite shows, cartoons and live action. Well, obviously, like I said before, I watched a lot of cartoons back then, you know. I don't really have a favorite cartoon because I watched so many of them growing up. And my favorite live action, I don't know if Sesame Street counts, even though they would have animation segments and all that shebang-a-bang. So the next question you asked, favorite YouTubers. Right now I'm watching Markiplier, I'm watching Boogie2988, who's also Francis, Angry Joe Show, Nostalgia Critic, Phaelus, and a lot of those people do reviews. They review movies, shows, games, and those are some of my inspirations for creating LarryBoy Fanatic. Hello, what do we have? Just a notification, I'll get to that later. But those are the YouTubers that I look up to. But the most questionable one would be Kid Behind the Camera. You know, from the Angry Grandpa videos. I used to watch Angry Grandpa all the time. I watched him since 2011, when I was a freshman in college. So I was kind of sad when he passed away in 2017. I think it was 2017. But then ever since Kid Behind the Camera, I try following him, but he has this thing with clickbait, and it's like, dude, come on, when are you gonna stop with the clickbait? That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna get into that further, but those are the YouTubers that I follow. But with Kid Behind the Camera, I'm still on the fence about that one. So the third question, what's your biggest guilty pleasure in terms of media? How's it going in there, Count? Good? Yeah, watching the Count on YouTube, you know, the guy from Sesame Street, the guy that I did a review on previously, yeah, he's my guilty pleasure right now. Am I right, Count? Oh shoot, I forgot to feed him. Hot Cheetos. Spoiler alert, he can leave at any time, so I don't know why he hangs out in my closet to begin with. Hey, Trinity Adams says, who is your second favorite superhero? It's kind of hard because obviously I like LarryBoy. We'll just go with Batman for the time being. Mojo Moj says, Bible Man versus LarryBoy. Who do you think would win and why? I'd say, I would say LarryBoy. Not because I'm a big fan or anything, but I was thinking about it. And it's like, who wants to stand there and recite Bible verses while you're going after a villain? I mean, you don't see LarryBoy doing that. In Chronicles 13:13 says, LarryBoy would definitely go in for the attack. It's like, ain't nobody got time for that. If you don't believe me, please watch the first 3 minutes of LarryBoy and the Rumor Weed. That's how you take down a bad guy. So what makes you think you won't do that with Bible Man? Next question comes from, Quizmaster JJE aka Avery Boy. Yeah, he was the guy that gave me that shout out video, so kudos to him. And he says, which version of both LarryBoy, LarryMobile, and Design is your favorite? Plus, do you think the Rumorweed version of the LarryMobile is destroyed? Well, to address your first question, I'd say the retro costume of LarryBoy is the best one. I didn't really care for the one for Veggietales in the House and City, because the whole point of the plunger ears was to get by, not just attack bad guys, but to like swing from area to area. Like the wings, you just killed it right there. It's like, he didn't need to fly. That's the whole point of the plungers, besides taking down bad guys. And I would say that this LarryMobile, not the piece of junk from the Veggietales in the House series or City series and the Netflix spin-offs, I'm talking about this. This is the true son. Now, in regards to your other question about the Rumorweed episode, if the LarryMobile was destroyed, that all depends. Again, I'm gonna go into spoilers, so bear with me. So LarryBoy has to take down the Rumorweed in the sewer system, or as they coined it, the mother weed, because that's the biggest weed that's out there and is creating this infestation of other weeds. So he goes into the sewer system. Well, first, I'll demonstrate with this. The LarryMobile turns into a Larry plane, and then the wings get taken off, and there's like a drill that goes here. He smashes into the earth. He's tunneling, and then boom, he hits the sewer. So the first part is damaged, and then afterwards the airbag goes out. So I would say there was like some damage, but not completely destroyed. If it was completely destroyed, then we would have seen like an explosion, but we didn't. So it's like some damages. Hopefully he had insurance at the time, because auto repairs they cost an arm and a leg, which LarryBoy does not have. Well, obviously he has no arm and legs. So again, hopefully he had insurance. So the next one comes from Janelle Contreras. Sorry if I butchered your name in advance. And they say, are you a fan of SpongeBob too? And now that you mentioned it, that's another cartoon that I grew up watching. But I had to stop watching it because it was getting too weird, too insane. The recent video I watched was like, SpongeBob is dead. I mean, seriously, you beat a dead horse long enough and you get this idiot sauce. Look it up. Trust me, you do not want to see what's in the idiot sauce video. I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks. What was the point of doing a cotton swab if you go into the mouth? Are you okay? Oh no, plankton! No! I'm getting flashbacks. Idiot sauce, guys. Watch at your own risk. But I guarantee you, the SpongeBob series is going downhill when it comes to sanity. Who's writing the show now? Give me a moment. I'm trying to get this toxicity out of my head. I think that cleared everything up. So, SpongeBob, sorry, man. So our last one comes from Matt the Cat, and he says, if you were to make your own LarryBoy episode, what would it be about? Who would be the villain? What will the villain plan to do to take over the Bumblingburg? Would LarryBoy be able to stop that villain? What would the moral of the episode be about? First off, that's a pretty good video suggestion, and I'll be sure to give you credit for it when I do that video. I would say this video was suggested by Matt the Cat. What do you think? So that's a pretty good video suggestion. I'll give you that. I think the one thing to address first off is, will he be able to stop the villain? Of course he will. Because we're not going to rely on these other heroes. Psst. Go home. Go home, League. And who will the villain be? All I can think of right now is the Bad Apple. I'm really hoping for a Bad Apple return, but if we don't in real life, that's okay. But in this story, the one that you're talking about, I want the Bad Apple to return. And how will she take over Bumblingburg? People already know that she's Temptation by now. Yeah, that can make for a pretty good video, so great suggestion, great question, I appreciate it, and like I said, I'll make sure to give you credit when I do that video. Hello, what do we have? Just a notification, I'll get to that later. Here's another question. I guess we have time for one more, so... Alright, so this last question comes from Closet Vampire. And they say, can I come out of the closet now? Closet Vampire. You could come out of the closet anytime now. Like, nobody's keeping you in there. There, are you happy? You're out of the closet. Good for you. It hasn't even been that long ago, Count. Like, learn to name your days. Learn to count your days. Oh, thanks. So now that we got that settled, anyways, those were all the questions that y'all submitted to me. I apologize if it took this long to give you guys a Q&A video. I was kind of busy, well, especially with the return of the revenge of whatever. Dr. Blowhole, the two-parter, which, I gotta be honest with you, shouldn't have been a two-parter. They're trying to milk it for everything they can. To split into two parts, it's all about this. If you don't have this, oh well. If you don't believe me, then watch my video. Sorry it took so long because I was busy with stuff like that, and then these other videos, and I'm trying to do the LarryBoy. I'm trying to do that. What's it called again, critic? LBF News. I'm still trying to get that going, and then I'm working with Gamerfrau. Oh, by the way, Gamerfrau, your hot cheater's back. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for, we've gotten a lot of subscribers. We have over 500 subscribers, and I'm very grateful, so thank you guys. If you like this video, give it a like, and please subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe to Gamerfrau. So Q&A video done. Check it off the list. Get ready for more video content. So yeah, this has been the LarryBoy Fanatic, the eyes and plunger ears of the LarryBoy universe. See you guys. So what do you think of the new digs? We got a desk. We have our posters. Larrymobile. Mouse pad. And me. Let's not forget about me. Alright, later guys.